Hello and welcome everyone. As you can probably see from the title of this video, we will be learning about CSS injection today. I think it's gonna be two stream series about this vulnerability type because I think it deserves more attention than just one video. By the first glance, if you know a little bit about XSS, it doesn't seem that it's kind of dangerous to inject CSS, but I will try to prove you otherwise. I will try to show what the most dangerous impact that could be using CSS, and will be one of those vulnerabilities when you have some kind of limitations. You might have ability to inject HTML or some certain tags of HTML, but not XSS, so you are limited just only for that. So just in case, if you can inject some header tags, stuff like that, and you can specify the style inside them, or you can either inject the style tags themselves. Those could be truly abused by just using abusing the CSS functionality, because then it started the CSS was really simple, but as the web developed over the years, more and more functionalities were added to the CSS, and right now it's so powerful that it could even do some really weird, unique things. So we're gonna check that. All right. Hi, did you reported any bug today? Yeah, actually I reported 2 bugs. So I'm not sure when we gonna respond, but both of those are actually criticals. So and I'm kinda hooked to continue bug hunting, but as I promised, I have the dedicated time for stream, I know that. And yeah, I have to stick to the plan as well, even though I'm really excited about bug hunting these days. I was farming a lot of crits past couple of weeks maybe. So actually I'm kind of sleepy every time it comes to streaming time. 1 hour or half hour before the stream, I will feel extremely sleepy, because prior to that I will have lack of sleep for sure, because sometimes when you hack, some people do have a lot of discipline, so I get that, but I'm that type of person. When I get interested, I could get really hyper focused onto single stuff, and I can easily lose track of time, and I can when I check the time afterwards, I will see, oh, I was hacking so long time, it is 5 a.m. or something or 4 in the morning, you know. So that happens a lot for me, at least, and sometimes just because of that I fuck up my sleep cycle. And yeah, this is my bad habit, but this bad habit actually earned me a lot of money a couple of times. But I don't know, maybe this is not really good for health in the long term, but from time to time, I don't know, if I get into rabbit hole, if it works, it works. So yeah, okay, let's continue to today's topic. Let's discover the nice vulnerability of CSS injection. So we're gonna continue on CSS injection topic, on the Beyond XSS series. This is really interesting vulnerability, different blog series about different vulnerabilities that is not only XSS but other types of client-side vulnerabilities that a lot of people do not know. Especially, this is more geared towards developers, but it's still pretty interesting topics for the cybersecurity people as well. So as I'm reading those topics, I also am reading some other articles, maybe doing some labs myself. So from time to time I might take a look into other write-ups, maybe HackerOne reports. So keep that in mind. This is not the only place where I look, but this is like a starting point for me, but to just continue, like have the structure of this. All right, so let's start with part one of attacking with just CSS, like CSS injection. In the previous blog post, we have seen various attacks such as prototype pollution and DOM clobbering, which manipulate the execution of JavaScript to produce unexpected results. In other words, JavaScript is ultimately responsible for impact caused by these attacks. And if you followed previous streams and like we read about prototype pollution, DOM clobbering, and we already know, but you do not actually need to execute JavaScript directly by just like injecting some kind of image tags, SVG, or script tags. What you can also do, you can inject some kind of HTML and just use that HTML to like execute some kind of like different types of attacks, or you can like poison the prototype of JavaScript. So those two vulnerability types we already discovered previously. Alright, now let's explore a few attack techniques that can have impact without the need for JavaScript. The first one we will discuss is CSS injection. If you have experience with front-end development, you may already know that CSS is a powerful tool. For example, you can create tic-tac-toe, bullet hell game, 3D game. Yeah, you read that right. These examples are created using pure CSS and HTML without single line of JavaScript. Wow. CSS is indeed magical, but how CSS can be used as a means of attack, let's continue exploring. Okay, let's review those links. It is really interesting how like only HTML and CSS could be used for that. Oh, okay, all right, that's cool, and yeah, you can see zero JS. This is really interesting. Whoa, whoa, oh my god, can I walk? Oh my god, no. Is this really? Oh my god, this is crazy. Like, you can use just HTML and CSS for those. This is really crazy. CSS nowadays is extremely powerful, as we can see. Alright, what is CSS injection? As the name suggests, CSS injection refers to the ability to insert any CSS syntax, or more specifically, use the style tag on the web page. You might wonder why such situation exists. In my opinion, there are two common scenarios. First one is when website filters out many tags but overlooks style tag, considering it harmless. For example, DOM purify, which is commonly used for sanitization. This is really interesting. Library used in many CTFs, many examples, and it's actually widely used over the web, so this is really interesting as well. Filters out many dangerous tags by default, leaving only safe ones like h1, paragraph 1. However, style is included in default list of safe tags. So because of this, tag is included in a lot of libraries and it's perceived as the safe thing, we can have, like, we should be interested in CSS injection. It's not really common vulnerability, but once you start noticing the pattern of the website, as I mentioned in one like previous stream, you have to like focus on places where you can like some kind of HTML is intended functionality, like email templates, like some forms with rich text, as I shown you. Those are just the two examples of very common places where like some like writing comments in forms, for example, as well. Those are the places where HTML tags are allowed in the post body. So style, if the style tag is also allowed, there is potential area to try for a CSS injection. Alright, therefore, if no specific parameters are set, style will be not filtered out, allowing attackers to inject CSS. A second scenario is when HTML can be injected, but JavaScript execution is prevented due to content security policy. In this case, since the JavaScript cannot be executed, attackers resort to using CSS to perform malicious actions. So, what malicious actions we're gonna discover pretty soon. Trust me, it could be as dangerous as executing JavaScript. Like, trust me. So what can be achieved with CSS injection? Isn't CSS just used for styling web pages? Can changing the background color of the web page be considered an attack? We will see. Apart from this, I will also try to show you some HackerOne reports, so you will see yourself like what could be done. Some of those reports actually haven't utilized the full capability of this attack, but you will see like some magical stuff what could happen. All right, so while CSS is primarily used for styling web pages, it can be combined with two features to steal data. The first feature is attribute selectors. In CSS, there are several selectors that can target elements with attributes to meet certain conditions. For example, input value A selects elements where the value starts with A. Alright, some similar selectors include input value A, prefix selects elements with value starting with A. This is for the suffix with value starting like ending with A, and this one contains selects elements with containing A. So if you don't understand, basically what you have to imagine, there is some kind of form, and inside that form there are some input fields. So if you see in like HTML, there will be form, and in that form will be input fields, and those input fields will have value. So this like input value, and just using CSS syntax like this inside CSS, you can like select certain part of that input to see if that page does contain A or does not contain A. So this is like how you can leak a little bit information inside the input field. Alright, the second feature is ability to make requests using CSS, such as loading background image from server, which is essentially sends a request. This is kind of regex. Yeah, this is actually regex right here. These things are also used in regex, so we're actually like querying the DOM using CSS to like select certain stuff, certain values in the page. All right, let's say we have the following content on the web page: input, secret value. Yeah, exactly what I was actually explaining. Here it is. Like, imagine inside the form there is like input field. So what user types inside the input field would end up right here in the DOM. So ABC123. If I can inject CSS, I can write the following. So like he selects the name of like this input field, the secret. This could be like first name, last name, email, anything like password. And then at the second part, he tries to check if the first value is A, B, C, blah, 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 until Z, for example. So if one of those will return something like this, it will use this function of CSS background, and it uses URL. So what could happen if one of those until Z like contains any of the letter, you will receive the first letter of this. In this case it will be A. So what will happen? Since the first rule successfully targets the corresponding element, the background of the input will be image from the server, causing the browser to send request to my server q equals A. So you will see the first letter. with all of this input to CSS. Therefore, then the server receives request, it knows that the value attribute input starts with letter A, successfully stealing the first character. This is why CSS can be used to steal the data. This is the real impact actually. By combining attribute selectors with the ability to load images, the server can determine the attribute value of specific element on the web page. So you don't necessarily need to be like per se limited only to input fields. Some sensitive information for like certain user could be used in some other values, like other tags as well. So imagine if the web page has some kind of API token or something like that. If there is like API token web page on your own profile, for example, and if a malicious user wants to leak that, and if on that area somewhere connected to that page could be used to leak that, you can chain that to leak like your API token. But right up to this point we only seen like how you can leak the first character just by using these. So don't worry, I will try to recreate this as well for myself, like maybe even create lab at the start of the next stream, so you will see yourself, and I will try explaining as well, because this is really interesting. This is one of those vulnerabilities where I want to also try myself when I see I can like have ability to inject the style tag. All right, so this is why CSS can be used to steal data. By combining attribute selectors with ability to load images, server can determine the attribute value of a specific element on the web page. Now what we have combined that CSS can steal attribute values, let's address two questions. What can be stolen? You only demonstrated stealing the first character. How can the second character be stolen? Let's start with the first question. What can be stolen? Usually the sensitive data, right? Yeah. The most common target is SRF token. Yeah, SRF token is as well, like could be one of the target, but as I said, like on my example, you can try to steal API token if it's like showing on the some kind of area, you know. It depends really on the application, what's like some, I don't know, private information being shown, and if other user can affect that as well, because you don't want to create self CSS injection for sure. All right, if you are not familiar with CSRF, I will discuss in the future article. In simple terms, if CSRF token is stolen, it could lead to CSRF attacks. Just think of this token as something important. Typically, the CSRF token is stored in the hidden input field like this. Yeah, and CSRF token is basically the token used to prevent from CSRF attacks. And CSRF, if you don't know what it is, it's basically the vulnerability which can make other user to do certain actions like behalf of that user. So yeah, so I'm exploring Beyond XSS series. So just type in the Google Beyond XSS if you do not know where I'm actually looking. And this, as you can see, they have a lot of different explanations by for a lot of vulnerability types. So if you don't want to follow these streams, you can also read yourself if you want. Feel free to do so. All right. So CSRF token, we've seen the CSRF, how we can steal the data inside it. Yeah, because the CSRF token is relatively short, but we already know how to steal like first character. For the hidden inputs, our previous method won't work. Okay, because the input is hidden. Oh yeah, the type is hidden right here. This element will not be displayed on the screen Since it is not displayed, the browser does not need to load background image, so the server will not receive any requests. This restriction is very strict, and even using display block important cannot override it. What should we do then? No worries, we have another selector option like this. Plus input. Just added plus input. So there is an additional plus input at the end. The plus sign is another selector, meaning that select the element that comes after. So when combined, the selector means I want to select input with the name CSRF token and the value starting with A, which comes after the input, with the name username. In other words, input name username. Therefore, a background image is actually loaded by another element which does not have type hidden, so the image will be loaded normally. But what if there are no other elements after it, like this? Yeah, exactly, that's good point. But usually I seen those mostly like as the first, but yeah, this could also happen. In this case, in the past, it would have been impossible because CSS did not have selector to select previous elements, but now it's different because we have a has. This selector can select elements below that meet specific conditions like this. Okay, form has. Yeah, so this is basically like a if function or something like that with CSS. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. This means I want to select the form below the input that meets that condition. So the form will be the one loading in the background, but not the hidden input. This has selector is quite new and officially supported starting from Chrome. This version released at the end of August 2022. Currently, only stable version of Firefox does not support it yet. I wonder when this article was written actually. Can I see the date? No, I don't know. I wonder if it's possible these days. Alright. With hidden input. Okay. So for more details, see. Okay. Okay, only Firefox and Internet Explorer. Come on, Internet Explorer. Who uses Internet Explorer these days? With has, we have basically invincible. We are basically invincible because we can specify which parent element changes the background. So we can select however we want. Alright. Stealing meta. Apart from putting data in hidden inputs, some websites also put data in meta tags. For example, meta names a serif token, content ABC1 to 3. Meta tags are also invisible elements, so how we can steal them? As mentioned at the end of the previous paragraph, has is absolute way to steal them. We can do it like this, just using HTML instead of form. This is also how we can do that. But besides that, there are other ways to steal them. Although meta tags are also invisible, unlike hidden inputs, we can make this element visible using CSS. Oh, okay. So it seems meta tags, unlike hidden input fields, can be used with display block, as we can see. All right, those could be overridden, so it's easier with them. But this is not enough. You will notice that the request is still not sent. This is because meta is under head and head has default display none property. Therefore, we also need to set head specifically to make meta visible. Alright, so just added head as well. By writing it like this, the browser will send the request. However, nothing will be displayed on the screen because, after all, content is an attribute not an HTML text node, so it will not be displayed on the screen, but the meta element itself is actually visible, which is why the request is sent. Okay, background blue. So yeah, so for the background you can use URL instead of blue, but this is like just for the POC when certain condition is met. All right. If you really want to display the content on the screen, it can be done by using pseudo elements with attribute attr. Okay. When you see the content inside meta tag displayed on the screen. Finally, let's look at the practical example. Okay, stealing data from HackMD. The HackMD CSRF token is placed in two locations. One is hidden input and other is meta tag with following content. So it's a CSRF token and we have a content. HackMD actually supports the use of the style. This tag will not be filtered out, so you can write any style. This related CSP as follows. So they also have CSP in place. The style could be used on the self, like same origin, and on those as well, those websites. And fonts, those are not interesting. Okay, as you can see, unsafe inline is allowed, so you can insert any CSS. After confirming that CSS can be inserted, you can start preparing to steal data. Remember that on answered question earlier, how to steal characters after the first one. Let me answer using HackMDs as an example. Alright, so practical example for the vulnerability that actually happened before. First, CSRF tokens usually changed when the page is refreshed, so you cannot refresh the page. Fortunately, HackMD supports real-time updates. In other words, AJAX functions. Whenever the content changes, it's immediately reflected on other client screens. Therefore, it is possible to update styles without refreshing. The process as follows. Prepare the style to steal the first character, insert it into HackMD. Victim opens the page. The server receives the request for the first character. The server updates HackMD content and replaces it with the payload to steal second character. The victim's page updates in real time and loads new style. The server receives the request for the second character. Repeat the process until all characters are stolen. So there is also the diagram, a simple diagram of the flow as it follows. So prepare the style, the victim opens docs, the style is loaded with token, then update the style, like it will send other, it will update the payload itself, and then like it will load new style. This is like coming in repeat basically. So style loaded, token AB, also updates, and it's basically the loop here. This not actually the right diagram, but well, it's extremely simplified. So all right. So the code is as follows. So this is just a backend code, Puppeteer, Express. This looks like a Node.js code. HackMD, blah blah blah. Let's see. Okay, there is a lot of code to read actually, but there are some kind of CSRF. Okay, you can run directly with Node.js. After running it, open the corresponding document in the browser so you can see the progress of leak in the terminal. So yeah, he just uses Node.js to build the final POC. So he actually specified the target website, and this is his host name, and he leaks like one by one just by using this example. He like automatically builds CSS injection using this. All right. After, however, even if you manage to steal HackMD's CSRF token, you still cannot perform CSRF attacks because HackMD's checks other HTTP request headers on the server, such as origin or referrer. Yeah, that's kind of bummer. To ensure that the request comes from the legitimate source. CSS injection combined with other vulnerabilities. So not only you can steal the tokens, but you can do other weird stuff. In the world of cybersecurity, the creativity and imagination are essential. Sometimes combining several small vulnerabilities can increase the severity. In this case, I want to share the CTF challenge that combines CSS injection with another vulnerability, which I find quite interesting. Okay. The target to attack is a blog website written in React, and the goal is to successfully steal data from the home page. You can add articles, and the content of articles is rendered using the following method. Dangerously set inner HTML. Yeah. All right. Okay. As mentioned before, modern front-end frameworks automatically encode the input, so there is no need to worry about XSS issues. However, dangerously set inner HTML in React means it's okay, just set inner HTML directly. So it's dangerous one. Yeah. So you can insert any HTML here, but the problem is the CSP rules. So there is second line in defense, which actually prevents JavaScript from executing. Script source self, object source none, base URI none. These rules are very strict. Script can only be loaded from the same origin. We already know what origin is, while other elements like style have no restrictions. Obviously, we can use CSS injection to steal data from the page. However, there is another problem. The URL of articles is posts ID, and the data we want to steal is on the home page. CSS cannot affect other pages. Even if we can use iframe to embed home page, we cannot inject style into that page. What can we do in this case? At this point, I thought of a trick. Using iframe element with source doc, we can create new page where we can render React app again. Okay, so he is actually creating new React app and the script inside it. All right. So he's just using iframe. However, the console shows that an error related to React router. DOM exception failed to execute replace state on history state of object about source doc cannot be created in the document with origin localhost and URL about source doc. React router is library used for front-end routing. The base usage looks like this, specifying which component corresponds to which path. Okay. Create route. Have you ever wondered how it determines the current path? If you look at the code, create browser history, you can see the following section. Okay. Browser let. It is ultimately determined by window.location.pathname, and the key point is that this window comes from document default view. In short, document default view location pathname. What does this mean? It means we can override it with DOM clobbering. And if you know already what DOM clobbering is, it is basically that you can affect JavaScript by using HTML injection. Previously we mentioned that we cannot override existing window properties, so we cannot override window.location. However, it is different for the document. We can override document. If we place an iframe name equals default view source equals /home on the page, the document.default view will be content window of this iframe, and the source here is /home, which is the same origin. Therefore, we can access document.defaultview.location.pathname and obtain the path name of the home page, rendering the content of the home page inside of. Oh, this is this looks like a kind of difficult thing, but all right. Let's see. Let me quickly check the chat. Utterly, this doc is getting over my head. Could you recommend any prerequisite material for it to be easy? Well, you actually have to follow everything from the beginning. Like start with some like basic stuff, understand how like CSS works, the protection, like different protection works as well. Like what is CSP, what is origin, like different sanitization techniques, different methods for protection, like CSS protection, and then go some like other attacks beyond XSS. So like read those articles as well just before this, and then you can actually read everything here. It will be more clearer. And if it's still pretty unclear, what I suggest you to do is just copy some part of what you do not understand and just use ChatGPT, and it will explain you like that part. So you can do this. Like this is my recommendation, but it takes some time for sure. Like for different people it might take different amount of time, because I understand this is way more complex topics than like some basic simple bugs. All right. In this way we can combine it with CSS injection we discovered earlier. An example is shown below. So okay, should I focus a little on GS? Will it get me an edge over others in bug bounty? Well, you need to know a little bit about GS for sure, like some basics about programming as well, because if you will discover like prototype pollution, you have to know some things about inheritance, which is also like known term in the object-oriented programming. And you also have to know like how the web works, basically like HTML plus CSS plus JavaScript. Just some basic course would help you if you are like total beginner. So just knowing this, yeah, definitely you will get some edge, because you, in order to hack something, you need to understand how it works behind the scenes as well. This is like one of the mandatory things as well. Well, some people are saying you don't actually need to learn programming. Yeah, this is not actually programming. This is like, let's see, coding. Coding and programming are two different things. So HTML and CSS are codes, like some kind of syntax. And JavaScript is actually programming, because programming means to create something that does certain actions, certain function. It's actually hard to describe. Like it's like I'm not dictionary man, you know, but you still have to like differentiate some stuff. And yeah, so as the foundation, I recommend like checking some basics about HTML, CSS, not so much, but mostly HTML and JavaScript as well. So it will be way more easier for you. And then if you cover those things, just try read here, like don't skip anything, just try read one by one. And if you don't understand some parts of it, well, either you can do, like as I said, like copy some part into ChatGPT, or try to find the same topic on Portsfigure Academy, because Portsfigure Academy have the same topics and they are written even better. Like this is like gold standard by them. But I'm just using this article series because this is like they go like side by side. This is really good foundation from where we can start on exploring more stuff. So that's why I'm starting with this series. All right. In this way. Okay, so this is the attack actually. Just to continue. An interface would look like this. Okay. So we re-rendered the React app in source doc of the iframe, and through DOM clobbering, this React app rendered another page. By using CSS injection, we can steal the data to achieve our goal. Well, I usually don't do that much of like vulnerability chaining with client side. Most of the time I will chain, like personally, I will chain maybe like CSS with CSRF, like simpler bugs. I'm not that extremely good at client side stuff for sure. So maybe one day I will be just as good as like the bug explained in this series, but usually I just combine a couple of like more widely known vulnerabilities. Maybe CSS to CSRF, I found that attack chain. Yeah, usually I just write the code on XSS, like JavaScript code, to like show the impact most of the time. All right, this challenge is from Core CTF 2022. Modern block challenge created by this guy. For more details, you can refer to my previous detailed explanation. All right. Summary. In this post, we have seen the principle of using CSS to steal data, which boils down to using attribute selector. So yeah, my personal takeaway from this, I won't probably do this complicated things described in the second example, but I would rather try, you know, this type of attack. Of course, I might use Python, not Node.js for this one. This could be easily remaked to Python. I might try to like prepare that for the next stream. We will see. Like, so I will create the POC as well, like website and attack code, and I will try to explain that attack code using Python, because Python is more familiar for me. And yeah, so the main thing what I would do, if I can inject the style tags, I will try stealing some kind of data from the same web page. So it could be, as I said, like some input fields, some CSRF tokens, or maybe even like some other secret stuff like API token or something like that. Yeah. So, all right, let's continue. Combined with load image functionality, we have also demonstrated how to steal data from hidden inputs and meta tags using HackMD as the practical example. However, there are still some unresolved issues, such as HackMD can load new styles without refreshing the page, do its real-time content synchronization. What about other websites? How can we steal characters beyond the first one? If we can steal only one character at a time, will it take a long time? Is it feasible in practice? Is there a way to steal things other than attributes? For example, the text content on the page or even JavaScript code. What are the defense mechanisms against this attack technique? These questions will be answered in the next post. Yeah, so I think reading sec part 2 is mandatory just to understand like how we can build even more sophisticated payloads, like how we can exploit this further. But this does require some knowledge about front-end, not some, like pretty advanced knowledge about front-end, and you also have to know a little bit about programming. This is like really prerequisites you need to fully exploit this. So as you can see, this is becoming really increasingly more challenging as we go through this series, but I will try to simplify a bit before the next stream. So at the beginning, I guess uh, I will try to create POC. And right now, we have around 15 minutes or so until 1 hour like will pass. So I guess what we can also do is try to find if there are some CSS injection examples found in the wild. In the wild, what I mean is like, is there any HackerOne reports in place? So let's see. I will use site keyword like HackerOne and use CSS injection. So, oh, all right. DOM based CSS injection on Grammarly. Yeah, Grammarly actually offers quite a nice bounties these days. They have increased it, so it's kind of interesting to explore those for sure. And yeah, this is one of those applications where CSS injection might be interesting to look at. Well, it's awarded as low, so maybe not that great. The report itself could be great, but it's a low bounty, as the attacker can inject an external CSS file, which can lead to phishing attacks in XSS in older browsers. Yeah, and this was 2019, so not on all browsers it was possible. Okay, an attacker within the main.js file, following code exists. So this is like the current code, which allows an external CSS file to be loaded via xCSS parameter without any kind of origin checking or filtering. So he tried Chrome version and he tried this. So, and he actually was loading CSS via this one. Oh, but this is kind of different vulnerability, because on some older browsers there was actually other type of vulnerability. On some older browsers you were able to call XSS functions via CSS file, so this is kind of crazy. Yeah, Grammarly has moved to evil.com. But no, maybe this is not CSS, this is just no, this is not CSS actually. This not XSS, sorry. This is only CSS code, because it doesn't do any actions. It's just could be used as phishing. So if you see in this page, if you can utilize to the full extent this same exploit, you can write your own CSS file to like actually steal the data. He was just actually loading CSS file. So by just loading the file, the impact is low. That's why it was like awarding not a lot of money. But if he managed to steal something from the same web page just by like using this, then that could be even critical one, or maybe high one. It really depends. But I mean, I think high vulnerability, because it will still require user interaction, I think, because the user has to visit this page. And imagine on XSS CSS, I'm not sure why it's called XSS here, it's kind of misleading, but on the CSS, if you can include the script, like malicious script, then yeah, it could lead some leaks of the victim user. All right, so this is kind of interesting, but it's not fully exploited, at least how it looks to me. All right, so let's see others. Who's saying? Okay, the reputation, nice reputation. It's found on Avito. Right now it's medium type of vulnerability. Avito raw form search in Internet Explorer. Alright, CSS injection vulnerabilities arise when the part style sheet user in supplied URL. or it embeds user input in CSS blocks without adequate escaping. They were closely related to cross-site scripting access vulnerabilities, but often trickier to exploit. Being able to inject arbitrary CSS into victim's browser may enable various attacks, including executing arbitrary JavaScript using Internet Explorer's expression function. Yeah, so as I said, like on older browsers via CSS, you were able actually to run JavaScript. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Using CSS selector to read parts. Yeah, so this one, we explored this use case. Right now, we are kind of limited to this one, unless it's like old browser, but many bug bounty programs won't allow, like they will mark as informational if you say like, oh, this could be possible on very old browser like that. No, they don't care. We actually, your vulnerability should be only tested on newest browser versions. Capturing any sensitive data within URL query string by making further style sheet import to URL on the attacker's domain and monitoring incoming referrer header. Yeah, so like leaking some extra stuff as well. And what he was doing, this was just vulnerable search query, search like URL query value parameter, and this was the value of that. So he's escaping some kind of HTML. He's using bold tag, and inside the bold tag he's also escaping spaces. This is some kind of bypass for WAF, I think. He's using the style, and then inside the style he's using some kind of this is just CSS injection. This is not XSS in this example. Basically, he's haven't shown this or this, you know, and he's just injected some CSS, and I'm not sure why they mark this as medium, but yeah. To ensure that user input is adequately escaped before embedding CSS block, consider using whitelist to prevent loading of arbitrary style sheets. Okay. Can't reproduce bug in this or other browser since the code is encoded. Can you confirm that still exists? It's weird, I checked. It's fixed now. Alright. It's informative. Good luck with future hunting. Can I disclose? Patch or disclose without details, and that was disclosed. So it was maybe working on some older browsers. Can we check how many new CSS injection bugs are reported these days using Google Docs or something? What do you mean? Like where if those are reported? Because mostly the most bugs, like vast majority of bugs, are not being disclosed and not be like, even titles could be not shown by the users. Some companies do not even want people mentioning what bug classes they found, so this is really hard to actually to discover this, like the amount of real bugs. Some I mean, depends on the program as well. Like for example, on Buckroute, some programs do intentionally allow to see like other security researchers which bug classes and how amount of like duplicates, not duplicates, what type of vulnerabilities they found on like different targets. Some have like this information public, while others don't want even mentioning this even outside the platform. Like it's like that. So, and there are also a lot of private programs what we don't know, way more private programs per se than there is a public ones. So it's really hard to measure. Only people who actually know about this are the people like employees of bug bounty platforms. So they have real numbers, and maybe the organizations that do actually collect large parts, like measure the data. So I think of ASP organization, every 4 years they do like top 10 vulnerabilities in the web. So I'm not sure if they do contact bug bounty platforms for that, but we do actually do a lot of research. So I don't know, it's hard to tell actually. Hey, all right. So yeah, so this one as well, it was like previous report. He haven't actually leaked anything here. He actually just shown like XSS with CSS. Like this is, I don't know. This I think lacks some information. It's also was possible only on the alt browser, and the Treasure haven't actually reproduced, and it was marked as informative right here, even though it's shown like as medium. All right, so let's see, maybe we can see other which actually got something interesting. Okay, this was actually trashed and resolved. So all right, custom message avatars can contain inline CSS that influences the resulting HTML element rendering. Yeah, avatar pages. This could be interesting if you can affect other users. So the method send message allows setting custom avatars. When escaping the input with none, further CSS is applied to the elements inline styles. The injected CSS may not contain certain characters, including whitespace. Method calls and message RID room blah 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 avatar right here. He is escaping avatar and injecting some inline CSS. So this, like, imagine if you seen like some of my streams but where I was actually talking about different XSS contexts. So this is also like different context for CSS injection. So we've seen 3 different contexts today actually. So this is like inline context. So he just escaped this and injected some kinda CSS. When the background image is the screenshot of two-factor authentication message dialog, users could be confused to enter their two-factor token to the chat message field and accidentally send to the currently open channel. A more sophisticated attack could be used for second CSS injection to overlaying the text input, although only one CSS element at a time can be influenced. The combination many can lead to UI being an attacker control. So basically what he was trying to say, the impact is phishing attack. Yeah, all right. So release is affected, develop, login. Like, let's see steps to reproduce. From initial installation to vulnerability, log in to the Rocket chat, figure out channel or direct message ID, open web inspector, send malicious message with method call, send message. I would really like when people were including more screenshots, because, alright, he actually included the code, but I would like to see more screenshots. Okay, but this one was kind of interesting. We seen like new attack vector. Let's see other one. Acronis. This actually earned small bounty of 250. CSS injection via client side path reversal plus open redirect. So 2 chained vulnerability types. Leads to personal data exfiltration to Acronis cloud. Yeah, actually the things what we were learning about today. Yeah, the screenshots, like I really like to use at least one or two screenshots when I'm writing report, and if it's really hard, sophisticated report that I know what could score me a like large bounty, sometimes I even add video. But usually, if it's like low or medium, I do add some screenshots, and then if the treasure is not able to reproduce that, only then I will also include video with the comments, because I'm kind of used to like creating videos so it's easier for me. Yeah. All right, let's see. Hi team, I hope everything goes well. I have found CSS injection in Acronis Cloud Management Console, like this URL, with color scheme get parameter. So I really like what he like casually just contacts the team. Sometimes if it's like your initial report or you're working on the same program for a while, like writing friendly like one or two sentences is really like good approach. All right. The flow work as I will comment below. If we go to the URL like this one, color scheme parameter, we can see by looking at the JavaScript code we will get the color scheme get parameter, and we will make get request concatenating the previous value to the URL of the CSS file. In this case, the following URL like theme parameter CSS to request the CSS file to load it. You can see in the following image of the request made to load CSS commented below. Yeah, so he actually added the screenshot, and this is, as I said, like more powerful than 1,000 words. One screenshot is more powerful than 1,000 words, and one video is more powerful than like 1,000 screenshots. Yeah, I heard this somewhere. Someone like said this, and like I like quoting this a lot. All right, since the front end doesn't sanitize values this and this, possible to perform path traversal to request the CSS file from the other path. For example, if you go to this color scheme, this is URL encoded forward slashes, so he's just using this parameter to like get access to for the CSS file. You will notice that get request is being made to the following URL, confirming the relative path override issue. The HTTPS MC meta cloud acronis.com parameter CSS blah blah blah. You can see the following image too. All right, this actually gave me some idea about match checking some bug bounty programs. I've been using a lot of crawling, a lot of way back URL gathering, and I have a lot of URLs collected by many bug bounty programs, but I was very often just ignoring like CSS files intentionally. But this actually gave me idea to do another like parse through all of those URLs and try to see if I can potentially detect something similar. This is like this actually really just reading this report just gave me this idea to pop up. Not sure if this will work, but I'm just having the idea. You can see it following image 2 CSS. Yeah, it's actually loading that parameter CSS file when he specifies here. Okay, this little issue by itself doesn't appear to be any security issue, but if we combine it with open redirect, it could be possible to make requests to the vulnerable endpoint to the open redirect and redirect to the domain where evil CSS file is stored. This attack is possible because we load any CSS file. By default, it allows and redirects specified in the HTTP location, header location. While looking at HTTP requests to see if I could find any open redirect and demonstrate the impact, I noticed one interesting API endpoint. HTTPS, Meta Cloud, Acronis. Oh, he actually found other endpoint. Alright. Redirect URI. Yeah, those parameters are really interesting to exploit. Callback. HTTP. Localhost. Notice that state get parameter is controllable by the user, so we can specify any external domain where we can redirect the user. Where is the state? Scope. Where is the state? Is he mistyped? Oh, here it is. So this is like user controlled area. Let's see the response to the previous request. Okay, callback code. As we follow location, HTTP header to the endpoint, callback, we can confirm open redirect ish. Yeah, it's redirecting here. This status code is good indication that open redirect happens. And you can see right here, it's even like reflecting the local host that he specified with state parameter. I have been digging into, and by creating other account, I confirm that if any user make a request to the first endpoint with same get parameters as client ID, redirect URI, response type, scope, state, nonce will be redirected to the local host, so we know that there is no need to guess any user parameter as client ID. Makes the attack more easy because the user only needs to visit link crafted by color scheme parameter and the same parameters for open redirect seen below. Yeah, this is really interesting report because he actually found two issues and he combined both of those to increase the impact. I like those type of reports because they actually work as a puzzle, and as a hacker you should try to solve the puzzles all the time to like get more bounties, like bigger ones. Once we confirm that the relative path, override and open redirect, let's put it all together to make an exploit. Nice. We know that we load any CSS file, it allows redirects specified in the HTTP header location. So if we are able to override the relative path to vulnerable open redirect endpoint, redirecting the user to CSS file of my domain, we can exfiltrate user personal information using CSS properties. Yeah, what we learned in this stream. By putting together these two tricks if the color scheme has the value. Okay, so actually there are 3 vulnerabilities that he actually chained. Like, for the creativity, this guy should earn more than Medium. Like, I kind of feel sorry that he only got this amount for 3 vulnerabilities. Seriously? Acronis, seriously? Come on, just give him a bonus. Okay, so he actually discovered path traversal, he found open redirect, and he found CSS injection. This is crazy. So you will notice that the first thing we do in the previous payloads is override the relative path to the root directory. When we specify the endpoint to vulnerable open redirect, and this is vulnerable endpoint redirect the user to localhost core CSS, there, in my case, the evil CSS file start. So this is like his evil CSS. As the result, the browser will load it and we can perform the exfiltration of personal data. Jesus, this report is look how long it is. All right, nice. Okay, so wait, I lost where I. Okay. As the result, the browser will load. We can perform. Okay, the final URL to load the external CSS will look like this. Make sure you correctly encode it. My previous report of CSS injection. is the vulnerable endpoint of this, which is used to show the final result of the page with some custom style. If you take a look at the DOM of previous URL, there is no personal information related to the severity of the issue is reduced, but in this scenario it's different since the DOM have many flash related customer and partner IDs. Yeah, this where you can actually, this is sensitive information. Yeah. In this way we specify our CSS file to domain hosted. We can perform CSRF attack with get request by loading an external image, CSS properties like background image to exfiltrate user information like his IP, referrer header or user agent. In my explanation I used my local server, but you can check it out my any external domain you own. This is crazy. This is just explanation of the this is just the description part, look, of this guy. This is like how the high quality report looks like, and I can't wrap my head around like he only made this amount. Seriously, he's like wasting time on this program. Damn, this is crazy. Damn, this is crazy. This is really good report. I haven't seen report like this in a while. Damn. Steps to reproduce, finally. The host the following CSS file in your server, like this, cord CSS. In my case, I hosted the CSS folder of my own local server, so the state get payload must be localhost CSS cord CSS. Go to this and log into your Acronis Cloud account as the partner. Finally go to this is like the payload he used, and you can see the following CSS injected. Okay, what's happening here? Yeah, so he just changed the look of the web page just by using background color. This is like, he's not actually showing the impact with this cord CSS, but what he can do is he can show like how you can leak the data. So, and the request of CSS made. Yeah, so he's shown the developer tab. Well, yeah, come on, he wrote that amount of things, but what he missed to do is actually like showing the more impact here. If he have built like even more stuff where you can actually show what you can leak, some like you know, those values, what's personal, but still I'm not sure, like this program seems kind of sketchy for this quality report. Seriously, this bounty, I don't know. Let's see how much they actually pay right now. Okay, they have actually increased bounties. This report was 2 years ago, so yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I don't know. Impact data exfiltration via CSS properties as background image. It is possible, as you can see, the following link. Yeah, you can. This is like POC of how you can use keylogging. I will dig to see what more information about user can exfiltrate. Okay, so this is not the final report. Let's see the comments. Okay, URL. Yeah, finally the code. Yeah, he's actually doing the exfiltration. Nice. Oh my god, this is not like you can see like the quality of the report, and like even in the comments he's actually helping them like crazy. He's actually adding the POC of the CSS. He updated the payloads. Wow, you can see the leak here. He even added the video. Oh my god. Look. Okay, there are a lot of bugs chained into this. This is crazy. He also uses URL encoding for URL, like not URL, open redirect to his hosted CSS file and some path traversal. Okay. And as you can see behind the scenes, he like his CSS script actually loaded some like data from the user and leaked the code. Yeah, I think, yeah, he leaked the code through CSS. Nice. This is crazy. This is really crazy. I cannot still believe that this report, it's so underrated. Damn. Okay. Like, if I were that guy, and if I were looking for, I don't know, cybersecurity related job, I would put this report on my resume. I think he should learn at least 5k, for the amount of work, for like amount of time spent, the quality of the report, professionalism, answering to like trash team. This is really, and yeah, this is really smart, and at least 5k to mine. Like, if we were hunting on S-tier program, he might have earned at least 5k. Maybe for if it's like medium only, maybe not 5k, but like for the quality of report, at least he like should have gotten bonuses or something. Yeah, and like he also he added the video. This is crazy. Yeah, I feel sorry about him. Come on, it's like, what is the reason of that amount? Okay, we can check the Cronus. Can we see at that time maybe what was the bounty table around that time? November 4, 2002. January 2002, November 3. So I guess from this. Okay, so he at least should have gotten at least, I don't know, may have like different tiers. We don't have on their table like they have for specific vulnerability. This is kind of weird, because what actually finally matters, at least to me, what actually matters the impact, not the vulnerability type. I don't like when companies doing this stupid things. This is like, this really annoys me. I got to see, like I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, and they show that you can, as medium, you can earn a lot of money, or even with low, you can earn 1k. But in reality, you've seen the like amount of work this guy put, and this is a fucking joke. This is a fucking joke. I seriously, this is this deserves wall of shame of the companies treating researchers like shit. We consider that this impact is similar to reflected excess corresponding the bounty amount. Fuck you. And he's also, he's a really nice guy. I will be pissed like hell. And then like bots started responding to them, not humans. Oh my god. All right. Since indeed my favorite, I wonder why it is his favorite bug bounty program still when they treat him like this. Maybe he found some like other bug classes when they actually awarded him the right amount. Sometimes, yeah, I actually experienced this myself. I was hunting on relatively good companies, and for some of my reports, they were acting kind of strange for certain vulnerability classes, while on others, they viewed that as higher severity bugs. Sometimes the companies have some weird threat modeling, I got to say. So how much time has he put into apart from the report? I'm curious. I'm not sure. Like, it's you should ask that question for that person. But I could tell that this took long time. It really depends on the skills of that person. Like, yeah, I'm kind of pissed off about. Really. Like, look amount of bugs chained together and the quality of it and the professionalism of this guy. This is seriously like the good example how bug bounty has a bad side as well. All right. Okay, never mind. But what is matter to us is the quality and the things what you can do. All right. So yeah, I guess for the tomorrow stream, at the beginning of the stream, I will show the POC, at least what we learned today. I will show the code, the vulnerable. I will create vulnerable website as well, and I will try to reproduce that myself. And then we gonna check the part 2, and maybe if we have enough time, we will also try reading this, and we will fully complete chapter 3. And that's, I guess, gonna be it for like this month challenge. But we'll see. Before you go, can we also go through a WASP testing guide for 2 and follow what that to get bugs? No, it will take too much time. It will take too much time. I don't want to do that, so. I'm stoked to hunt on your one lab. Well, I just added a little bit of labs about XSS just to understand the context. Don't think that it's like fully everything is done here. No, I'm just like made it for fun. All right. Okay, I was streaming for a while now, so I have to go as well. So see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.